You know, life is hard enough. Just getting through your day to day responsibilities, thinking about your goals, trying to be a good neighbor, a good friend, a good spouse, a good sibling, a good child. Um, we, in the 35 years that I've been working with people, I've still never met someone who doesn't come from dysfunction. Our world is dysfunctional. I mean, everything about it is dysfunctional, um, and always has been. So, you know, life is hard enough. Just figuring yourself out, life is hard enough. As a clairvoyant, I've been ostracized, criticized, treated poorly my entire life, and I don't know if it's just that I'm one of the lucky ones because I just don't care. Um, or if I got way thicker skin because I never felt like I fit in anyway. So people having something not nice to say to me wasn't new information. So I don't know if that's the reason, but I empathize so much. I see what's going on in our world today and everybody's opinion, and religion has always been an opinion and politics have always been an opinion, but it seems that things have gotten so much worse in the last 5 years. And I don't know if it's, I'm not, I don't think it's because I've just become more aware. Um, Things have gotten way worse. Daily in my office when I'm working with clients, I'm working with and helping people through the emotional upheaval of living, the feeling judged everywhere they go, and um, things are changing. Ridiculous things are changing. Not even just things are changing, but things that require no change are changing at such a vast degree. And I'm so confused because I don't understand how we as a society don't realize or aren't, I don't know if paying attention is right, but I don't know what else to call it, aren't paying attention enough to discover that the psychological warfare that is taking place for each and every one of us right now. And I'm calling it psychological warfare, first of all, because I'm a psychologist and I can see it. Um, Second, because it is warfare. The division that's being created, the opinions, the mainstream media that's controlled, you know, by the powers above, and I don't mean above us, I mean here on earth, um, is making such a point of bringing one issue after another issue and one problem after another problem, and one extreme thing after another extreme thing, indictment and transgender and rights and vaccines, and it's like it's all coming like one after the other after the other after other after other, and it's just it's piling at you. And the thing that you need to understand is, even if you didn't fall for it during the 3 years of a pandemic, even if you sat back and went, no, something's not right, um, you're still being affected. And that's the thing that I don't think anyone's understanding or anyone's fully understanding, is that each and every one of us are being severely affected emotionally, psychologically, um, and it's just not letting up. And so if it's not letting up, what do you do? What do you do about it? And the truth is, you got to at some point here decide to stop feeding the the pain, to stop feeding the suffering. You'd be so surprised what a difference it would make in your life if, instead of watching even YouTube videos, not just mainstream media, because that's the kicker, right? So many of us are choosing not to pay attention to mainstream media. So instead, we're going to YouTube and we're going to all these things, and that's all wonderful. But, and there's no judgment when I say this. YouTube's going after clicks too. The influencers that are out there, they're talking about stuff for clicks. Okay. I'd love to tell you that everybody's talking about stuff because that's really deep down how they feel. Everything's for clicks. So if you really want to stop the suffering and let go of some of this psychological warfare that's taking place around you everywhere, be more picky about what you're watching. Choose to not find out what's going on. Is it really going to change anything? And there's going to be so many people that would say to me, of course it's going to change things. We got to know what's happening. Why do we have to know what's happening? It's changing every minute of every hour of every day. And everything that you are being told is full of crap. So what difference does it make? And I said this to somebody, one of my clients, a couple of weeks ago, and he responded with, "Well, if the world ends, I'd like to know about it." Why? If the world ends, you're not going to be here. What does it matter? What does it matter? What? Why are any of us allowing this feeding frenzy to continue to happen? And we're doing it because we're scared. And we're scared because we're being shown, we're being inundated, things are being thrown at us from every direction to instill fear. Okay. It's when we're scared, worried, and overwhelmed that we think we need to know more. Okay. It's when we're holding on to our fears and our anxieties that we feel this overwhelming need to get more answers. And what you don't understand is what you're feeling is the need to feed that fear. What you're feeling is the need to feed that anxiety, to get it stronger, to get it bigger. Right? I I I watch in my career and in my life so many people work so hard to change their lives and to flip the switch in their brain and to be positive and to have faith in the universe and to manifest and attract things, and most of us know what actually works. You think we're all searching, and most of us aren't all searching. Most of us actually know what really works, but it doesn't stop you from falling down the rabbit hole. And you got to understand, negativity feeds negativity, but positivity feeds positivity too. And as easy as it is to find what's going wrong in our world, you can also find what's going right if you look for it. What you focus on, what you're giving all your attention to, what you're giving all your energy to, which is your greatest commodity. And in this channel, I'm going to talk about your commodity a lot, and your commodity is your energy. What we, waste our commodity on, our energy, is insane. And it's not just you. Like, understand, I'm having this conversation with myself as much as I'm having it with you, because I get thrown down that rabbit hole just like everybody else, right? And you know, most of the time when I get thrown down that rabbit hole, I'm like, oh, that's just ridiculous. And just like most of you, you fall down the rabbit hole, you listen to what's going on, you watch the mainstream news, or you watch the YouTube channels that are covering everything, and you think, man, things are just crazy, and no, that can't be right. And but I think what you're not, or what way too many of us are not paying attention to, not you, because I don't know you, what way too many of us are not paying attention to is that the more you hear something, the more that something gets said to you, the more often, the repetition that takes place, no matter what your belief system is, no matter what your strength is, no matter what your core values are, no matter what you're good at, no matter what you know, no matter what you know, it will change from repetition. Okay. And so the more you're watching it, even if you're watching how it's baloney, even if you're watching how everything that's going on right now isn't true, you're still feeding those emotions. You're still feeding the anger. You're still feeding the frustration. You're still giving oxygen or energy to the things that you don't want to give oxygen and energy to. And even more than that, for you personally, you're still hearing it. Your brain is still hearing it coming in and coming in and coming in. And eventually, you're going to question what you believe. Okay. You're going to question how you've managed to succeed in anything in your life, and does it actually work, or was that a fluke? You're going to fall into the same trap And and that's what's happening. Whether we realize it or not, if you get inundated with something enough times, if things get repeated enough times, it's going to become what you believe. It's going to become what you achieve. It's going to become what you focus on, right? And and that's the issue. You'd be surprised, how governments work and how the world works and how society works is the same as how we work individually. And the less opportunity you give something, okay? So the when you're in school or you've got bullies, okay? You ignore the bullies and they're going to keep trying. And they're going to keep trying to get your goat is what they're going to try to do. They're going to keep trying to get a reaction. And if you can outwin that, if you can continue to not give a reaction, continue to come across like you don't care, and I mean not a flinch, they are going to eventually leave you alone. Okay, now that's just a one-on-one situation, and usually it's one person against a lot of bullies. They're eventually going to leave you alone, right? It's when you it's when join into the mix or try to defend yourself or put yourself in situations that they are given fuel to be able to attack you is why they're going to keep going, right? Well, everything that's going on in society is the same. We keep feeding the fire. We keep putting energy into the fire, whether it's we're saying we believe it and we agree, or we're saying that we don't, right? During the whole mandate time, when things were all mandated, and I'd go out in public and I'd listen to the people that were saying you were stupid if you didn't do it, and you should be ashamed and you shouldn't be allowed health care. And then I'm listening to the other side and they're yelling, calling everybody idiots and stupid. And it's not any different. Just because you're on separate sides of the fence doesn't actually mean that the way that you're saying things are different, right? We don't we don't get anywhere by continuing all of this fuel. We are not going to improve as a society, as a culture. And to be honest with you, I don't care about society and culture. I care about individuality. You're not going to improve as an individual. You're not going to get better. You're not going to reach the goals that you want to reach. And you have every right to reach those goals. You have every availability to reach those goals. There is the only thing that's getting in the way of you reaching any of your goals or dreams is you. And the more you're fueling that negative space, the more you're choosing to look at things that show you can't versus choosing to look at things that show you can, the more it's going to become concrete in your head that you can't do what you want to do and you can't be who you want to be. And then you're in the same circus as everybody else. And and I don't know if this is making sense because, I somewhat feel like I'm rambling, but it's such a, for somebody who spends their career trying to help people and trying to be there and support, it creates such an unbelievable frustration because the truth is it's a lot easier to put down your phone than you think it is. Okay. It's a lot easier to choose to make an investment in you and only search out good things and only search out the ways that you can and only search out the things that will benefit you, right? It just takes a little bit of energy. I understand it takes a little bit more energy than it does just picking up the phone and going on YouTube or going on Google or, I understand that's all you got to do to see all the crap. And so you got to put just a little tiny bit more energy into looking for the good, you know, typing happiness in your search bar, law of attraction in your search bar, how I can achieve anything in my search bar. I get it. Takes an extra couple seconds. It does. But you'd be surprised at how much things would start to change in your life, again, for the good or for the first time for the good, if you would just choose to do that. If you would just choose to do that instead of falling into the trap of watching what's so easily available, of listening to what's so easily available. People try to talk to me about what's going on in the world all the time, and I'm just like, I don't want to hear it. And they're like, well, why don't you care? Like, me caring isn't actually going to change anything. Um, And it's not that I don't care, it's that I refuse to allow myself to be a part of being bullied. I just refuse. And that's a choice, you know. We can all make that choice. And you know, I can tell you that maybe it's an easier choice for me because I've always been bullied and I've always been picked on and I've always been judged and there's always been nasty things said about me. You know, it's the same thing when people talk about how I should start to get my message out there on YouTube and they're like, "Oh, but don't be defended by the haters." I don't give a like you're not gonna. I can't be defended like offended. I don't. They don't know me, right? So, um, which I also just find insane. Don't turn that into your career if you don't want to, you know, be picked on. But um, where was I going? You just it's like we're all looking for what's wrong, and what we should be focusing on is what's right. You know, we're all looking for proof that we were right, that was wrong. Think about that for a second. We're always looking for proof that we were correct and that was wrong. We were right, it was wrong. Why? Why do you need the proof? Why can't we all just know right in here that it's wrong, right? If we would all as a collective stop watching the crap, stop feeding the media, stop listening to what's being said out there, and just live our lives and believe in ourselves and focus on achieving more and a focus on achieving better, a focus on having more, focus on being more, the news would change directions no matter what it's being run by. Okay. The content creators would change what they're talking about. The only reason that it's all being talked about is because we want to hear it. Okay. Because we're choosing to turn on the channel to hear it. If everybody turned off the channel, I mean, look at this whole Bud Light thing. If everybody stood up and went, yeah, no, we're not doing this, what happens? It'll change. It'll change. Right? And the psychological warfare will come to an end, or they'll take a different turn, or they'll try a new tactic. But that won't matter because you're living in your truth, because you're focusing on what matters to you. You're focusing on what you need, what your family needs, what the people in your life require, what matters in your own little bubble. Because at the end of the day, your own little bubble should be your top concern. So I know I'm rambling, and I know that for some of you, this might not make any sense, but it's just as simple as if you're struggling with what's going on out there, just stop watching it. Just stop watching it. I know for me, I'm going to focus on sharing information about how to achieve versus how to struggle. I'm going to continue to help people find the right side of who they are versus the side that they struggle in all the time. Um, but you just got to remember, you know, while you're struggling through all of this and you're watching it all unfold and you're paying attention to it, you're choosing it too. You're choosing it too. I hope you have an amazing day today. I hope today is a wonderful Thursday, and I wish you all the very best. Mwah. Take care. Bye, guys.